Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with a K. I'm joined by my regular co-host, Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner, hello.
And another regular co-host, Mr.
It's Mr. Ben Errington.
How the devil are you guys doing? If you're looking on YouTube, I can see we've all chosen some spectacular backgrounds today. Andy's got a lovely female, and Ben's got an electric man.
We got Electric Man. He's the Undertaker. He used to like doing that, getting the electric.
Yeah,
that's good. And what have you got?
Captain Scarlet.
Captain Scarlet. He's got like one of those Twizzlers coming out of his mouth. Not a turkey Twizzler, but the red ones. I got some Twizzlers right here, not in arm's reach though, unfortunately.
Lovely strawberry laces that he's having there.
Yeah.
From Patrick Stewart.
I wonder how Patrick Stewart was sold his role and how his role was going to be in today's movie. Because I'd like to know what they said to him, because he's kind of got one of two things to do.
Maybe he was busy and he goes, I'm sorry, lads, I'd love to be in this film. Really love your work, Mr. Hooper, but I'm really busy right now. Haven't got time to learn lines. Well,
I know where you go.
Do you know how to shout, Patrick? I do.
Oh yeah, I love a good shout. It's great. Do you know how to kiss a leading man? Well, I do, yeah. Do you know how to have strawberry laces pulled out of your jugular? I mean, it's definitely not him, isn't it? It's a lovely. I mean, he would have had to go through that process where they make a model of his head. You know, when you can only breathe through your nose.
Yeah.
So you know that could be. That's like a day's work.
Cast. Yeah, maybe that's why he's bald now.
Oh,
he had full head of hair when they put that cast on.
That's what happened to me.
Ripped it off in one go. What were they making a cast of you for? Fun. Madam Two Swords.
Madam Two Swords. Madam Three Swords.
Every now and again I think about this. Isn't like Madam Two Swords or a Waxwork Museum as a concept mad?
It's like mad now. I think back in the day, like the 30s.
Yeah.
1930s. You wouldn't see people.
Whoa. What is this? This looks exactly. It's like when you look at PlayStation 1 graphics now. Back in the day, you were like, "This is lifelike."
That Tyrannosaurus, when Demo 1 came out, that Tyrannosaurus might as well have been there in the room.
Exactly, yeah.
I know what you mean, but it is just mad. Like, it's strange, isn't it? Like, you can't see these celebrities in real life. We're going to make a waxwork model of them. They'll look exactly the same, or possibly not. And you can come have your photo taken with them. Like
it's like going for a Sunday dinner with your family, and your mum served you like wax fruit and like wax food, and like it looks the same. What are you complaining about?
But that's the one thing they've never been able to handle.
Get it down your neck.
Get some of that, Dad. Yeah.
So that's the problem I've always had with Madam Two Swords. They just don't taste like the actual celebrities when you get in there. A bit like the Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
Never got the flavour right.
Never got the flavour of David Beckham quite right. You know, I thought he'd be a little less sweaty.
It'd be a bit more spicy.
Is Madame Tussauds like ridiculously overpriced as well? I mean, standard tickets here looks like about £20. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. £20.
Is Madame Tussauds still alive, or is she just a wax model of a person? I don't even know who Madame Tussauds is. Is she the House of Wax?
She's in the House of Wax. Yeah. You walk into Madame Tussauds, the whole building's made of wax. You pay with wax money.
Coins.
I don't know. Wax coins.
Just little slices of candle. Just chop it off.
People like trying to look at stuff and just sliding through. It's very slippy in here.
Just so it got really quick. They want you in and out so they get new customers in. Well, I want to look at David Beckham.
But if you linger too long, that's when you can see that they don't look anything like the actual people. Need to get you straight past. Like, look, was that David Beckham? I think it was Tony Blair. I'm not too sure. Go on.
Could have been either or. Has a waxwork museum ever burnt down? I know, not obviously House.
I don't think they can burn. I think the wax melts
away. Yeah.
You are, yeah, but as a place, I have seen the film. I was thinking that. Did you? This is a random segue, but in Weston-super-Mare, which is like a seaside town near me, the pier burnt down like probably about 10 years ago now, and everything in there burnt down. And I used to always think that like, so there's a ghost train on there, which I used to love going on. And they also had all the arcade machines like House of the Dead and all that stuff. And I was just thinking, there's someone out there who was like the last ever person to go on the ghost train before it horrifically burnt down, or the last
playing with matches. They were
the last person to complete House of the Dead 3 with the shotgun before it completely burnt down, and that's just mad.
Isn't there like an exact similar looking burnt pier in the other one, Brighton? Is it Brighton?
Oh, is there? Yeah, and it's a bit further on, isn't it? Like they've gone, that one's burnt. We'll just leave that one to it, and then we'll go make a new one. Yeah.
There's only one. They move it around the country. The burnt pier.
The burnt pier. Did you notice pier burnt down? Oh god. Yeah, I remember that was it kicked right off in the southwest when the Western Pier, the Grand Pier, burnt down. Everyone was devastated. Still a bit upset to this day.
Rightly so.
I had this exact conversation with some friends recently as well, and I think, yeah, I should just get over it by now.
But the grieving takes its time. Ben, there's no right or wrong.
Over 10 years, it feels like yesterday.
Still fresh. So aside from morning peers, what else has been going on? Yeah. Should I ask you for the horror news this week, Ben, instead of you having to ask yourself?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Ben, is there any horror news this week?
You know what? It's one of those weeks where the horror news seems a bit thin on the ground, but we've done what we can. But filming is wrapped on the Toxic Avenger remake. I've kind of seen a few little bits about this online recently. So this cast has got like Elijah Wood, Kevin Bacon, Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay, who's like obviously the kid in every horror movie these days. And it's also being directed by is it being directed by? I recognize the dude. He's from that movie Blue Ruin. Mason Blair, yeah. So the movie Blue Ruin's good. I don't think I've ever seen anything he's directed. But yeah,
he's in Green Street as well.
Oh, okay.
I think he's in a couple of those movies.
Maybe that's why he's got Elijah Wood on board.
His old mate Elijah Wood from Green Street. Yeah, Green Street Elite.
Should be interesting.
Not Green Street, sorry, Green Room. I was like, that's Anton Yelchin, not Elijah Wood.
I was like, what are you
they look kind of similar, I guess. It's not in Green Street.
We could have walked away from that, and you go.
He's in Green House. One of them green ones.
He's in one of them green ones. There's a green house on the green street, and there's a green room in there, and there's a green corner.
And he's in the first one of that series, Green Room. That is the prequel to Green Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, brilliant. I'm looking forward to it. I saw a picture from the rap thing with old, I guess it's the original Toxic Avenger, Lloyd Kaufman.
Do we know what he looks like? Do we know what Toxie looks like?
No, I don't think I've seen him.
I've only seen the guy in the costume that. Do you reckon it's the same man we met at Starburst, the one that goes around with Lloyd Kaufman dressed in the outfit?
Oh, he's not dressed in an outfit.
Just him.
He's been at the Toxic Waste.
Yeah, it falls into a mop bucket or something, right?
Like a big vat of a bit like the man in RoboCop.
Yeah. Oh, RoboCop was on. I didn't watch it. I just saw a bit of it. RoboCop 2 was randomly on TV the other day, and I completely forgot about that horrible big man with the screen face.
Oh, Ed 209.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. That's burned into my subconscious. I probably haven't thought about that for over 20 years.
I've got memories of when they take his brain out. I seem to remember them like
eyes. Yeah.
Skull.
There's definitely a
scalping him.
But yeah, it was terrifying, and it was what animation? Sorry, what am I thinking of?
It's like stop motion.
Stop frame.
It's like stop Ray Harryhausen stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's something terrifying about that.
And it's a horrible kid in it. That's my main memory of RoboCop.
Yeah, kid's like
a bad boy.
A bad boy. He's like one of the main. Well, not the main bad guy, but one of the main sort of evil characters.
I'd put it to you that a little kid could never run a mafia operation. They have to go to the toilet too often. Always needing a wee little kids.
That's the reason. That's the reason. All the reasons.
Have to go to bed have to go to bed too early.
I mean, old people have kind of got exactly the same problems. So you could say that there's only a You can only sort of run a mafia organization from about like 19 up to what 60s.
Yeah, that's a good innings.
Oh yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I couldn't put that into what I've been watching because it was kind of like on in the background when I was doing something else. So there we go. Yeah. What else? I saw a bit of horror news as well, which I thought I'd read out just especially for you, Andy.
Well, go on.
So Jack Frost and Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman, are getting new Blu-ray releases. They're being released in December, of course. And there's loads of special features. Like literally, there's a massive list of features. I'm still scrolling. So yeah, if you want to watch either, so it's coming. So it's MVD Rewind Collection. So hopefully that'll be available. Hopefully that'll be available in the UK. I'm not really sure what that is, but if you want some 1080, it's restored in 2K, which is lovely. I'm not.
My goodness, I'm gonna get all over that. I think. I mean, we did Jack Frost as part of an episode of a Christmas horror movies, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was like top 10 Christmas horror movies.
Yeah, maybe we'll do maybe we'll do a bonus episode on Jack Frost 2 or something this Christmas. Sometimes when I tweet about Jack Frost, the director, I think he wrote it as well, Michael Cooney, he sometimes likes it and gives that a retweet. So maybe if you're listening, Michael, come and have a chat to us about Jack Frost 2 for this Christmas time, this holiday season. What a time
that would be! What a fantastic time that would be.
If we could hang out and talk horror with Michael himself. I love Jack Frost is one of my every Christmas sit and watch Jack Frost. It
would be nice to watch it again. I don't think I watched it since we did that episode, so it would be good to go back to it. What famous actress is in it again?
Denise
Richards? No, Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah, Shannon Elizabeth.
That's it. That's right. Very nice. What else did I see? If you're a fan of John Carpenter's music as well as his direction, he's sort of announced the soundtrack for Halloween Kills, and there's a track you can listen to now called Unkillable, which might be about Michael Myers, could be about anyone, I suppose, in the film Halloween Kills, but probably the titular man.
I don't know. Michael Myers might sit down. Bearing in mind he's been in prison all this time, maybe he sits down to watch the film Unbreakable, and that plays over it.
Yeah, possibly. I wonder if he's ever seen a film, Michael Myers, like in prison. Did they like wheel the TV nights in like they did in school sometimes? Film nights, yeah. I bet he's been forced to watch some absolutely mad shit over his time.
He's seen Frozen so many times.
He's had enough. Right, when I get out of here.
Maybe that's how that doctor could have got him to talk if he'd have just like built up to the chorus. Let the storm rage on, and then pause, and Michael would have been in the back.
Oh, never bothered me anyway.
Oh, never bothered me anyway.
And as soon as he's spoken, he's cured. He goes, "Oh, I had that bottled up for so long.
I've had that bottled up for bloody years." Literally, the only other thing I saw was that Amazon's Welcome to Blumhouse is back in October. So they did like some original horror movies, didn't they? And I don't think I got around to watching any of them. Was that last year? Possibly.
Like 4 movies dropped. And I don't think they got much fanfare at all.
I don't think they got much fanfare. I don't think they got very well received. But there are... I'll just read out the titles and make of them what you want. So one's called Bingo Hell.
Okay, on board.
Okay.
It's like bingo hall, but imagine a bingo hall. Yes.
Bingo halls
in hell.
In the way that we do? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Another one called Black as Night.
Okay.
Pretty standard. That could be anything.
I think it's something to do with vampires, this one.
I think it's the Batman movie.
Yeah.
It's the new Batman. It's just the new Madres, which means mothers, right?
Murders in a Glaswegian accent.
Mothers. I was trying to be Spanish. I was trying to be Mexican. Murders. There's been a murder. That's terrible. I'm sorry to everybody. And another one called The Manor. Which is about a supernatural force killing residents in a historic nursing home.
The Manor.
But yeah,
these all sound like they could be splendid or could be pretty generic. I mean, it's difficult. But Bingo Hell actually sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, Bingo Hell is my top pick from title alone.
Yeah, from title alone. Yeah. Can you give me any of the titles of the other ones that came out?
Blackest. Oh, you mean before?
Yeah,
not from just a second ago.
Not just a second ago.
I just told you. Pop quiz.
Were you guys even listening? Okay. Something about murder.
No, I don't know. There was one.
No. So this was last year. This feels like, I can't believe it's been 12 months, pretty much. Since, well, not exactly.
Don't give yourself a hard time for not remembering something that happened in the last 12 months. The limbo.
What's wrong with me?
The singularity that we all live in.
I don't think I watched any of them, but The Lie, Black Box, Evil Eye, Nocturne.
That rings a bell.
Yeah. It's a shame, really, because it's an interesting sort of concept. 4 movies in 1 month, all from Blumhouse as well, which obviously usually does all right. But
I feel like Netflix kind of nailed it with the Fear Street thing. Because these films, I don't know, there isn't that kind of catchiness. I don't know what, I can't even picture what these are going to look like. Whereas Fear Street, it has that kind of R.L. Stein.
Yeah, Fear Street, they really nailed it. And, you know, if there's one thing Netflix do very well, it's market things, right? And they're very good at like tuning into the, I guess the popular culture and making things hit just so. Because technically, with the Netflix model, things just appearing, you could lose the sense that you get with a cinema release that everyone watched at that time. Because once it's out there, it's, especially a Netflix original, it's not going to go. It's there forever, pretty well, right?
Yeah.
But those Fear Streets, I think people really rode the wave with them and got into them, and just kind of everyone was watching it pretty much on the week, right? It was really, they were kind of going through week to week. Maybe they actually were sensible, because naturally you think horror thing, release it around Halloween, that maybe they just got it out of the way of some other stuff and just brought it out when they did, and it was kind of in a bit of a void, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, what was at the cinema at the time? Black Widow had maybe just come out, but it was in a weird situation where cinemas were just opening again, and some people don't really want to go. Yeah, they landed it perfectly. They've
just delayed Venom to like October the 15th, which I think is the same day as Halloween Kills comes out. So I wonder why they did that.
Which one will you be off to see first, Ben?
I suppose it's not.
I know your thoughts on Venom.
I mean, definitely Halloween Kills, but I will probably watch Venom. I'll probably will watch that in the cinema.
Candyman out, is it?
So Candyman
is September.
It's out
end
of this month. Yeah, so I think it's August the 27th. So
quite excited about that.
Are we going to do that for an episode next month?
Got to.
Definitely. I reckon first episode of September.
I've been waiting for that film for so long. I feel like we started talking about that film coming out in episode 1.
Welcome to the Horror Hangout. Has Candyman coming out yet? A new one? Looking forward to it.
And here we are.
Still looking forward to it now.
Yeah.
There we go. That's pretty much it for horror news. Anybody watch anything nice?
Well, Andy, I need to know, have you seen The Suicide Squad yet?
I still not. No. I was at a wedding last weekend, so by the time to go to the blooming cinema, it's off wishing people well. But
just nipped out during the vows.
Yeah.
Just gonna pop to the toilet.
Sorry, I just gotta go out for maybe 3 hours. Is that gonna be okay, guys?
Yeah, I might try and make it this weekend, depending on what the weather is like. If it's sunny,
man in a suit in the back row, covered in popcorn. I'd like to have seen
it. So you didn't see that, but did you see anything else, Andy?
No, just the film of a week and a wedding. And I will say, nothing horrible about that wedding. It was very nice. Congratulations.
B+.
All involved. Yeah. No, I'm gonna go A-. Good wedding.
I like it. I do like it. I do like
them.
it. You still didn't go for A+.
Well,
the hors d'oeuvres were a little bit.
No, wedding itself was good, but it was a long way.
The vol au vents were too tiny.
I see what he's doing.
It was a big drive.
You wouldn't say A- if you didn't have a reason backed up, and for that, I respect you.
Yeah. And the groom has 2 middle names. I think that was an indulgence that I could have done without.
Okay.
An indulgence.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Not like having a double-barreled surname. I mean, who would even
can't control that? That's what's happened. But I think when you're 18, if you grow up with 2 middle names, you just have to pick the one you like the most.
Yeah. Cancel the other one.
Imagine how people feel who don't have a middle name at all, because they exist in the world. There are some people that you got 2.
I've definitely forgotten my middle name once or twice. I've gone, wait, is it? Or is it? Maybe
That's interesting.
I think just because I literally never, ever usually mention it.
I can't really forget mine because it's my dad's name, his first name.
Yeah. The middle name isn't my dad's. Luke, my dad's condor.
My dad's. It's my dad's, which is a unique name, but still suits you. And you've seen anything, Luke? Anything this week?
Well, yes. I went to a friend's house. We had a film night and we watched Godzilla vs. Kong. I've already talked about that film, I think, 3 times because I've watched it so much. And the charm is starting to wear off a little bit, I will say. But it's good. It's still good. It's just not as good as the first time you watched it. Then maybe even not as good as the first 3 times you watch it. I also watched Prometheus. I don't know why. I was in an alien mood, and it's on Disney Plus, so I stuck it on without even thinking about it. And Prometheus is okay. I think I really like the tone in the world and the atmosphere. I just feel like some of the, I don't know, it's similar issues to what I think with today's film. It's like that maybe the plot is there's too much plot. I think like it just needs less plot.
I've not seen Prometheus in a number of years now, but my feeling coming away from it was always, again, a little bit of restraint. There were some things that are perfectly good ideas for another film. Just save it.
Yeah.
But you've put it in, and it's kind of jarring. The main thing that springs to mind for me on Prometheus is that scene that would be good for The Thing, where the guy becomes a zombie and bends himself round backwards and tries to get them.
That seemed like something just thrown in because there was a lot of guys standing around doing nothing, and it needed to be killed or something needed to happen.
Yeah, and it's a good bit. It's perfectly good, but it's just not from that film.
Yeah, and he starts like power jumping and like leaping around and stuff. He's like
charged jump.
Yeah,
I do like Prometheus, and I like the music, and I like the vibe, and I like the whole setup. I think it's very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But once it starts to, reveal certain things, and as an origin movie for the xenomorph, it's unbelievably convoluted to a degree where you're like, shut up. And just no, shush. That's silly.
I like the idea that they kind of the engineers created us, and then they wanted to kill us because they changed their mind or something. But I mean, I'm still, even now, I've seen it like a few times. I'm still not entirely sure what the black goo is.
No.
Like
it should have been. They wanted to kill us with xenomorphs. The origin is it doesn't really have an origin. The xenomorphs exist because obviously the space jockeys, whatever they're called, got them from another planet. Nice, easy. That's fine.
But then they don't, because in this, then there's an alien queen on the wall, which is a lovely bit of set design. But then the alien we see at the end is a different type of alien, and that alien doesn't exist yet. Like it's
it is just incredibly convoluted.
And then in the second one, in Covenant, David creates. He's like he makes them not from scratch, but he kind of perfects the xenomorph or something. Yeah, it is too convoluted.
I heard a nice bit of alien trivia the other day, and I hadn't noticed it until it was pointed out on I think it was the Scaredy Boys podcast. The alien, in the Alien franchise, the robots, their names go up alphabetically.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, Bishop.
Ash.
So it's Ash, Bishop,
Keith.
Winona Ryder's begins with C. I don't remember
Carl.
her name.
Carl.
And then David.
Yeah. Interesting. So the next one will be
Eddie.
Hang on a minute. Do the writers and creators of Alien and the franchise know the alphabet? Because it seems like they do.
What else? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm still reading a few bits and pieces, but nothing to talk about yet. What about you, Ben? See anything good?
So my daughter's been here for like probably about a week, so I haven't really watched much other than stuff that's, all right for her to watch. I say that, but we went to the cinema to watch Jungle Cruise, and even though it's like a 12A, there was definitely some bits in it where I was like, oh, that's a bit. She was definitely a bit scared. She's
Close your eyes.
She's at the age now where she's a bit like, she doesn't like the look of someone. She literally just turns away and then puts her head sort of like on my arm. But it's a bit of a mishmash, this one. It was all right. It borrows a lot from Pirates of the Caribbean and maybe like Raiders of the Lost Ark. The visual effects aren't the best. It made me think it looks like Pirates of the Caribbean, but then I kept thinking, but how old is Pirates of the Caribbean? Like what? The first one was 2003. So the fact that
the first one is excellent.
It is excellent, yeah. But the fact that the visual effects look like the same as that, especially when it's dark, I was a bit like, what the hell? What's happening? There is an orchestral version of Metallica's Nothing Else Matters, which it like opens the film, and then a little bit later is like a much more bombastic version of it. That was great. I love that. I was like, that's really nice. Apart from that, it was like, The Rock doing The Rock, Emily
Blunting around,
being pretty much great. But I don't know how I felt about it in general. It felt like a version of Pirates of the Caribbean / Raiders of the Lost Ark, but like a Diet Coke version of those.
I feel like
right.
I wouldn't rush out to the cinema and see it, but if it was a Sunday afternoon and it was on ITV, I'd sit and watch it with adverts in it, and a little snooze after your dinner.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's a proper snooze movie. That
not in a bad way. It's not boring. Just you're snoozing anyway.
Like a comfort movie, but like a really comfortable movie.
Yeah. Or the alternative location to watch a film like that, once it's a normal thing and we're doing it a bit more again, on a plane. Sit on a plane and watch that. You'll have a grand time.
Trying to angle your face so you can see the screen.
Yeah.
Because there's always like a light on it.
Yeah. See if someone's reclining their chair. Cuss them.
Yeah.
How many more films based on Disney theme park rides can we have? Is Space Mountain the movie gonna be next?
I don't know too much about Disney rides. There's Tower of Terror, but that is actually a movie, isn't it?
That's the Haunted Mansion, isn't it?
Well, Tower of Terror is the Haunted Mansion. Obviously, we've now got Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Have we got a Muppets version of the Haunted Mansion coming out? I watched the shit out of that. I love the Muppets.
Watch the shit out of it. What are you doing there? You watching a film? Oh, excuse me, I'm watching the shit out of a film. Just out of that.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was going to watch that. I watch you now, so all the shit's been watched out.
All the shit's been watched out of it. Be shit now. I don't want to sit there with you.
Cleaner for anyone else. Are there any Disney rides left that have a theme like that aren't already themed?
Most of them are based on films or like, I don't know, characters, I guess.
What other theme park roller coasters?
It's a small world after all. That's something, isn't it?
Just a song.
I feel like that's the one in The Simpsons where they.
Yeah,
definitely.
Lisa drinks the water.
Lisa drink the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other rides in other theme parks that you'd like to see as a film? Let's see a film about the Nemesis from Alton Towers, big old monster.
Yeah, Nemesis. I think the vibe of Nemesis is very much mid-80s sci-fi horror film vibe.
There's like blood at the bottom, isn't there? There's like red water.
Yeah, the Ribena.
To make it look like people have died on this ride and now you're going to go on it.
It looks like you've been shrunk and put on like a Warhammer 40k tabletop.
Yeah,
with the little scenery.
Nemesis is very Tyranidy, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
And then there's a like.
It's my favorite ride, by the way, Alton Towers Nemesis.
I'm not sure if there's like a sub ride that's near the Nemesis as well, isn't there? I'm not sure if it still exists. It's like an experience one where it's got there's rides that have a story.
Yeah.
And then have you been on that one?
Hex would make a great.
Hex would be a good ride.
Yeah, a great film.
Have you been on the Nemesis one though, where there's like eggs and you sit in a seat and it drops you through the floor into like another bit, and then it's like a 4D cinema, and then like something like scuttles across the back of your neck.
That was like, I don't know about that. There's the Willy Wonka one.
Oh
that makes a great movie.
Willy Wonka, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, Nemesis, the film. Get on it.
Nemesis.
Yeah, I think Nemesis would work. Yeah.
The only other thing I saw was the first episode of Marvel's What If. Don't know if you guys.
I did watch that as well.
I haven't yet.
Beg your pardon.
So obviously like an animated version, and obviously after Loki. Minor spoilers for Loki. Who's not seen Loki? Anybody?
All right.
No. So minor spoilers for Loki with all the multiverse stuff opening. This is kind of like just a nice little. Here's some stories. It doesn't seem to be going as full. It doesn't seem to be leaning as heavily into the what if stuff as I kind of hoped, because I think the next episode is like gonna have Black Panther as Star-Lord. And then there's another episode where it's like, what if Killmonger saved Tony Stark? And I'm like, well, I want something a bit more nuts, I feel.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not nuts enough. There's not enough nuts in it. Like, even spoiler alert if you're going to watch the Captain Carter one, but she just pretty much does Steve's, like the timeline is exactly the same, but with her instead of Steve. I feel like they should have gone way crazier with it.
Haven't I seen from the trailer there's like a Marvel Zombies one where Spider-Man is Doctor Strange?
Well, that sounds good then.
That looks. I saw that in the trailer, and I think they've released toys of like a Spider-Man in a Doctor Strange cape.
I would say the animation is fantastic, and the vibe of it is great.
Yeah. I'll keep going. You know, I'm definitely gonna be.
Yeah, I need to
watching these
and watch that.
Any Marvel zombies. I wonder if they're really gonna go crazy with the zombie stuff. I don't know if they will. I can imagine it'll be a bit. I don't know. We'll see. Let's remain hopeful. But that's pretty much it in terms of what I watched this week.
Other than
film of the week,
Lifeforce.
Lifeforce.
Right, before we go any further, strap in, everyone. If you haven't seen Lifeforce yet, make sure your socks are pulled up.
If you haven't seen Lifeforce, I mean, maybe pause and then go and watch it, because I don't
think they'll come back.
And then come back, or just if you just want to hear some crazy shit, just stay tuned. So,
I feel like
Lifeforce.
If they haven't seen Lifeforce, people will think we're making it up.
Yeah, it's possible. Maybe we are. So, Lifeforce is a 1985 British science fiction horror film directed by Tobe Hooper, written by Dan O'Bannon and Don Jakoby, Dan and Don, starring Steve Railsback, Peter Firth, Mathilda May, Patrick Stewart. It's based on Colin Wilson's 1978 novel, The Space Vampire. I should have just called it that, because as a title
they wanted to, but there was another movie that was a B movie budget sort of movie, a lower tier exploitation movie that had a similar name, and they didn't want.
So this was supposed to be like a big budget possible franchise starter. Is that right? I think that's what I read somewhere.
Yeah, hot on the heels of the success of Poltergeist, they gave Tobe Hooper, I think, I don't know the exact amount, but it was around about a ridiculous amount of money, and free reign to do what he wanted with this novel. And he said he wanted to make like a Hammer horror film, but like a spacey modern one. And it does kind of have that Hammer vibe to it, if you like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it looks like obviously negative reviews on release, was a box office failure. Apparently, the budget was 25 million. Sorry to jump in million. After a squillion billion. Box office was like 11.6 million. So yeah, but has since become a cult film, for obviously lots of different reasons. Just like a really weird sort of like, the fact they're set in the UK is just odd. Like I never ever felt like it was throughout.
Yeah. Have you seen? So this is the first time we've seen it, right?
See, this is the first time I've seen it, but I've always seen like various little screenshots and little clips.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the clip on a helicopter. I've seen that before. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it. It looks like the kind of film that I may have like watched when I was younger, but I don't think so.
When we talked about doing it for the podcast, I have to say I was a little reticent, just because I've seen it fairly recently, and it's a lot of movie. Like it's quite a lot to get through.
Yeah. I think maybe if I'd seen it recently, I may have been a bit like, do we have to? But
Also, I mean, there's definitely stuff to enjoy in it. What about you, Andy? Have you seen it before?
I have not seen it for years. I've seen it once, like a friend's house, did like a movie night years ago, and I don't think, like, watching it back today, I had a vague recollection of what happened, but it was clearly one when we were chatting and having drinks, and I think this is one that you have to kind of stop and take in, because literally look away for a second and everything's changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching this back for this one, it was a bloody roller coaster.
It was a bloody roller coaster, and like a pretty baffling one as well, where I was like, wait, are they supposed to be, is this what the hell? When's this? What's going on?
And what are their powers now? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
The biggest thing for me when watching it, I don't understand how it was made in the mid-80s. If you think Aliens, the sequel to Alien, came out around about the same time, how would a movie with this kind of tone, like, it feels so out of place? Like the when you're looking at them sort of exploring the vampires' castle in the sky, whatever it is, like the whole, and the sort of the way they're floating towards it, and the really slow dialogue, and I don't know, it feels really
like
out of time.
It feels like a 60s movie.
Yeah,
like that.
it does. Yeah.
It feels so strange. And like, as I was watching through, I thought to myself, I don't think even Jason Blum himself could get this made now. Like, it's like, it is an anomaly. Like, it exists with, there's so much really compelling in many cases and really interesting ways of doing stuff, but it is absolute mad shit.
Yeah,
it felt just like really inconsistent to me. Like, there were some ideas that I kind of liked, but it seemed to drop a lot of things and then just go in another direction where I wasn't particularly interested. I don't know. I feel like if it maybe just stayed in space, I could have enjoyed it more. Possibly.
To be honest, the most enjoyable point for me was at the end when it went, let's just throw a load of zombies in there.
Yeah.
And let's just, London's on fire. There's a guy who melts.
Yeah.
I tell you who's MVP in this one. You mentioned from your background picture pen, The Undertaker. His brother, Colonel Kane, MVP of the movie. What a guy.
Colonel Kane's the spooks guy, right?
He's the man who is immediately identified as being in the SAS. He's like, no, don't write that down. Not the SAS.
The SAS.
Yeah. I love him. He's great.
Yeah.
Has he got a turtleneck on? Did I imagine that? I'm thinking about it now.
For at least most of the movie, I think. At least I imagine him in one. Maybe that is the power of him. Even if he's not wearing a turtleneck. He has the energy of someone that does.
At least his neck's warm throughout the apocalyptic space vampire invasion. His neck's nice and warm. And also, if vampires won't get to his neck, they're not that kind of vampire. I see.
Yeah, he messed up.
They're kissy vampires.
Sexy vampires. Reviews here. IMDb is at 6.2. Rotten Tomatoes, 59 critics, 45% for audience score. Letterboxd is at a 3.2, so a bit higher. Some reviews here. Philip Furtado put, Tobe Hooper gets all the Hollywood chips he gained for serving at Spielberg's mature en scène. I guess that means, I don't know what that means. The Poltergeist, and let it crash and burn gloriously into a huge science fiction horror epic about sex and death. He gave it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
And then Jack put, Tobe Hooper likes women's boobs and poopers. Half a star. Nice little poem there.
I wonder what he said to Mathilda May to try and say, you're going to be in this movie, quite a big part, but for maybe 85% of it, you're going to be completely naked, full frontal.
Yeah, 30% you'll be inside other people's heads.
Yeah,
and the rest of the time you won't be in clothes.
Yeah, you'll either be naked or you will be Patrick Stewart. One or the other, never both.
Sold. Sign me up immediately, please.
Do you think? I mean, she's just naked, or did he have to be naked? Couldn't space vampire? I guess that's the whole point. They're like supposed to like lure people in with their sexiness.
She is overwhelmingly sexy, as the other guy was like. You don't even understand how.
Yeah.
What
if she had clothes on,
overpoweringly feminine.
Yeah.
That she says.
The men, are they supposed to be the same for females? Because there's like 2 male vampires as well. They get grenaded pretty early on.
I think they're just big old douches, aren't they? They have slightly different powers.
Well,
we don't really see them through the eyes of a female character, because I think, unfortunately, in terms of female characters, we've got like one astronaut, right?
Are you saying this film fails the Bechdel test?
And I mean, it probably does. And then we've got like a redhead in a bin bag who like comes onto like a farmer.
She's like a sadist. Is it sadist?
Yeah,
likes to get beaten up,
or at least the astronaut says that she's a sadist while beating her up.
You like this, don't you? You bloody love this.
But he said he can read their minds, so you just have to take his word for it.
Just take that, just believe him. Someone says that, you go, oh right.
If not for the zombie scene at the end, this could just be this could be like a Jacob's Ladder-esque thing about just one man who's gone completely mad.
This film is completely mad. It never seems to stick. Like the science fiction horror stuff, I think I was on board as soon as we get onto planet Earth and it's to the UK. At least, I was like, "What the hell?"
It may come as no surprise to you, and you may have already seen this in the trivia. But the book Space Vampires that this is based on is very heavily based on our old mate Lovecraft and his Cthulhu mythos, to the point where the book is often cited as, by Lovecraft scholars, that it should be considered part of the canon of it. It's really heavily implied about it. The book is slightly different. The vampire bat people, they have like an origin of a bit like Indiana Jones, the fourth one, where they have they're related to interdimensional squid beings. But apparently they're nice. But there's more to the book. It's a little bit different. But knowing that it's Lovecraft inspired makes it sort of click into place a whole lot more.
So in the book, they're humanoid bat-like creatures who are subsequently shown to be squid-like, but then ultimately revealed to be energy beings from a higher dimension. Yeah.
Yes.
That kind of happens in this, but there's like balls of light that go around scooping up, like hoovering up all the souls at the end, right? And it takes them to the spaceship.
It's a real big Henry Hoover scenario. Get them souls sucked up.
Someone needs a Henry Hoover in this bit quite early on. There's a lot of dusty folk about. But this is
get some use.
Yeah, this is just a flavor of what we're getting. We should probably tackle this sequentially. We begin in space, right? Or
on the Winchester.
Churchill.
So
they're on the Churchill, and for contemporary viewers, people right now are clamoring for the Fast and Furious franchise to go into space. They don't need to. Watch Lifeforce, because that spaceship, never see it fly in a straight line all the time. It's always sideways drifting. It's
bloody hell, Tokyo Drift, that is.
Tokyo. So right now, all the astronauts are up there. They've got their pimped out space shuttle with massive wings. Looks like there's oversized wings of solar panels, and they have a special engine, which for budgetary purposes makes it so you have gravity on the spaceship. You just Tokyo drifting all through space.
Yeah.
Is it set in the future?
No.
Is it set?
I don't know.
It's set in this is 1985, I suppose.
I guess so. I mean, it's not that futuristic, is it?
Yeah.
I guess not, but I don't know. I was a little bit confused.
So it's Halley's Comet, right? They're going to inspect it, Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
And then they find a giant 100-mile long and 2-mile wide, phallic ship thing.
It's like a, what's it look like? It looks just like a
kind of an umbrella, I guess.
It resembles an umbrella. It starts off as a bit of an arrow, it's sort of long, and it's got little bits at each end, and then later on a weird umbrella thing.
Yeah, a big fleshy umbrella comes out, but that's not just yet.
That's a big fleshy umbrella, that is. Oh.
Yeah. No fleshy umbrella just yet. It's just a big needly spaceship sort of hidden in Halley's Comet, right? And they've lost the connection to mission control from being near the comet. And the two guest commanding officers of the mission, they sort of have a little bit of a chat, say, what are we going to do? We can't speak to command. And he goes, well, and this is a nice touch, right? It feels like there's a bit of credibility to this decision. Halley's Comet is a factual thing that flies past Earth every 70 years or so. and they basically say, like, we can't communicate with base. What do we do? He says, well, we have to go and see it because there is a ship in the thing of the comet. If we don't go in there, by the time this comes back again, we will both be dead. So you've got to make a choice that you see it now or you do not get another chance to see it.
Yeah.
And it's not even, it's not like a maybe we don't get another chance. It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
So they all get their kit on and they Tokyo drift up to the spaceship.
How many people stay on the ship?
That's
couple of women
doesn't go, don't they?
Yeah, everyone seems to want to go.
I like how they float towards it. Like, I don't know how to describe it. You just kind of have to look at the visual. They don't look like they're part of they don't look like they're in space. They're just kind of moving, I don't know, floating towards this giant ship. They go inside it. Yeah,
they're like in an old point and click adventure that had like a painted background and then a sprite that's animated on top of it. So there's a thing.
That's it, yeah.
But like our backgrounds here, they're just like
pretty much the same as the backgrounds here.
Yeah. They're just moving through like a static background. Drifting on through in that little sort of astronaut hover chairs that they have to float around little jetpacks. And they're all astounded by the ship, and they get in there. Oh, I did notice, made a little note of it at this point, that as they fly into this, my headcanon on this is that just as they're flying in, one of the astronauts has his body taken over as Dr. Sam Beckett quantum leaps into him. Because as they're flying in, he just sort of pauses and looks around and goes, oh boy, there's another story about that. But they drift in, and then the first thing they find is a bloody load of horrible like bats, 100 of freeze-dried Batmen.
Freeze-dried like a freeze-dried fruit.
Yeah.
Desiccated
Batmen, and they slag them off immediately. They're like, oh, they're all dead. I hope they're dead.
Well, they start taking their fingers off and stuff. Look, dead.
They're snapping bits of them, and they're all dry. I also love the bit where it's like, oh, we'll bring one back in this special space containment bag. It's just a net.
It's just a net. Yeah, they do say at one point, oh, we're just containing them using something, and I was like, that is literally like a net, not even like a. It's like they've got the biggest holes in it ever. What if the thing you were needing to bring back was tiny? Get through the holes.
It's basically like the net of a football goal. They've just got with them, and they're like, chuck it over him.
This is what in our spare time on the shuttle we have a lovely game of football.
Yeah, that's the specimen bag, just the football nets, and then a sort of door opens in the thing, and the commander. What's his name?
You got Colonel Tom Carlson.
Carlson is the main one. So Carlson's kind of
Carl Carlson.
Carl Carlson is having a quick look, and he goes, "Oh, tell me what this is made of." Oh, it's not metal. Well, that's helpful. Thanks for telling me what it's not made of.
Not made of, yeah.
Didn't ask that, did I?
It's definitely not metal.
Not metal. Oh, thanks. But he kind of already has a little bit of a strange feeling. He sort of drifts into this portal. At this point, the people on the ship have lost visual. They've lost the video as well. And Carl Carlson floats on in and has like a weird, and I think this is one of the things that you get the feeling of your 60s dialogue from, where he's kind of stage announcing to himself what's happening. He's like, something strange is happening to me. What's going on? It's very Space 2001 David Bowie video.
Yeah, I was getting 2001.
He's like, oh, what's happening? And what he's looking at when he feels all funny is that he's found some glass coffins of some sexy naked people.
Glass coffins of sexy naked people. What are you looking at over there? Glass coffins of sexy naked people, all right?
And it's like, oh, what's happening to me? I feel...
How would you report that back to Mission Control or something? We found some people in this coffin. What state are they in? Sexy.
They're very sexy. And then when the others come in as well, like the others aren't quite so like ethereally affected by the sexy glass coffin people.
One guy gets shaky.
Oh yeah, he does. He gets a bit shaky, but then one of the others like goes, "She's perfect. That's what she is." And he goes, "All right." And he's like, "Oh, I've been in space for 6 months, and for me, she looks absolutely perfect." I'm like,
he does say that, doesn't he? It's like, keep it to yourself.
Think that. You're a trained astronaut. like a 13-year-old boy. Like, oh, he's never been. And also, bit harsh. Like at least 2 of the other astronauts are women.
I think it does.
Like, I've not seen a woman for 6 months.
It does look at one of the. It does cut to one of the female astronauts.
She's just like
in the moment she sort of goes like, "You fucking what? I wouldn't touch you with a barge pole, mate."
Yes, absolutely. Oh no, I think of you like a friend, mate. It's not like that. Not like that at all. I've not seen a sexy naked lady in a glass coffin before, and this for me is not strange at all, bearing in mind that she is in a spaceship with desiccated Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know in this particular situation, like how horny could you allow yourself to get? Like you're in a spacesuit. I imagine it's quite uncomfortable, desiccated Batman everywhere. You're in like a spaceship, terrifying as it is. Like you don't know what the hell's going to happen. I don't know if you could let yourself get to any point of going.
Well, Carlson he gives into those urges, right? We've learned later on.
Yeah.
That he kind of phased through the glass coffin and woke her up.
They've been doing some smooching. I saw you.
I don't understand.
You're smooching with my brother, my naked. You were smooching with my naked space girl, weren't you?
I love you.
You were smooching with everybody. The naked space girl, the desiccated Batman, everybody.
If only he was there. But right now they're not wasting any time. Right, let's get these sexy naked space vampires up. Also, come on, Toby. We get full frontal of the sexy naked space lady. There's a couple of shots where she's tastefully covered by a strap, but by and large, she's front and center mid-camera. There's no equal op. There's no equal ops here. There's
not a
absolutely
not a we don't see any. But I think it's maybe just because well, say what you want if you enjoy looking at a flaccid penis. Then...
I'm just saying if they're naked space people.
Yeah,
come on.
I know what you mean.
Come on now.
I know what you mean.
Showing us all up.
Show us all. Come on. I want the bush flanked by 2 flaccid penises. That's what I want.
Maybe because as we learn later, they choose that form. Maybe the man space vampires hadn't had a good old chance to have a look at the astronauts bits yet. So they were like, "Oh, I don't have to copy that yet. Leave a strap there.
But we are kind of we're made to understand that, they do take this form in order to appeal to the humans in this way. But again, we never see it through the eyes of the female astronauts at any point. So it's like, it's just weird.
I don't think maybe the men vampires are like, I think she's the Dracula.
She's the Dracula.
The men vampires have got different powers. They can just appear as London bankers later on, but otherwise...
It's weird because they get grenaded. I'm pretty sure they reappear later on.
Oh, yeah, grenades won't take them out, mate. No way. No.
They take them out after the movie. 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah, they're asleep.
Just takes them a while. Although they transform, but never mind. So yeah, they immediately go, right, we're having these. We'll have these and the one desiccated Batman, and that's a good haul for today.
Yeah.
So then they all get back to the ship and they Tokyo drift away from it. And then we don't see anything
drift away from. They lose contacts. The Churchill loses contact with planet Earth, I think. So then they send the rescue mission to look into it. I don't know.
They haven't been answering their calls, so they send another shuttle up to go in there, and they go in there, and everyone's all bloody burned to a crisp.
Yeah.
And they go,
devastated.
Everyone's been burned up, but in the spaceship, now it's back to Earth. Just the 3 unburned up crystal coffins.
This is a Hammer movie. Quatermass is it Quatermass or X the Unknown or something, where the spaceship goes into space, comes back, and all the astronauts are dead apart from one person.
One sexy naked lady vampire.
One sexy naked lady in a crystal.
I wonder if he took inspiration from that. Sorry, go on.
So yeah, they go back and they find that the three sexy vampire people are not burned up like everyone else. So they bring them back to Earth, bring them to the space research science lab in London, and then we learn very quickly that off camera they are opened. Someone goes, the scientists are all talking, how did you find a way to open them? He goes, oh, they just opened. All right, then. Are we going to do an opener? Are we going to do an autopsy then? And they went, oh, yeah, I guess so. Then
go on in if you must.
We move on to the main reason why modern businesses all have lone worker policies, because an unfortunate accident at work happens, right? This guy doesn't appear to be a scientist, just appears to be a sweaty oik that just wanders in with his mask on.
Just to have a look, innit? Just to have a look. You know, got to tell your mates there's some bloody alien turned up. You know, I just had a look.
Quite convoluted, the disease thing. There's like a 2-hour thing. So
he goes to poker. He's just standing over it, and his scientific thing is that he's gonna poke the lady vampire. Well, we don't know it's a vampire, naked space lady. And she pings her eyes open. The only man who is watching him is watching on a CCTV monitor at literally the other side of the building. So it takes him ages to leg it down. Once she sees that he's being snogged by the lady and she's up and about, by the time he gets there, she is, he's all bloody desiccated, skin and bones, slurped. He's been sucked up like a Capri Sun. He's
quite like these effects. I was saying, I quite like he's got real like normal eyeballs moving around in a puppet kind of situation. He's like moaning, and
he's had every ounce of liquid sucked up from his body.
Yeah.
He's like a big, horrible, dried.
He's been slurped. He's been slurped dry, and she's still there, naked as the day. And she goes and goes, and she goes up to him and sort of says, "Oh, you can use my body if you like." And he also gets a little bit drained, but then another scientist, we see a lot more of him, Professor, what's his name?
Yaffle.
Professor Yaffle.
Hans Fallada?
Falladas, that's the one. Yeah, Falladas.
Yeah, this guy is definitely in a Hammer horror movie, right? So I'm pretty sure he plays. I'm just trying to have a look at his sort of film.
I mean, he looks a little bit like what's his name at first, Christopher Lee.
Yeah. What else he's been in? Just trying to have a look.
He reminded me for a second of he isn't Angus Scrimm from Phantasm, but he's got kind of feel about him. He's got quite a presence, and he's got
who's this guy?
Yeah.
He's in, let me have a look here, The Three Musketeers, A Christmas Carol, The Longest Day.
Yeah, he played Jacob Marley's ghost in A Christmas Carol. Don't know if that's a TV one. He's been in Count Dracula TV shows, Sherlock Holmes TV shows. You know, he's been all over the shop, and now he's in Lifeforce.
Here he is, but he's kind of for at least most of the film. Dr. Hans Fallada is he's like a Van Helsing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Did I when he does kill one of them? Oh well, I know we'll get to that, but did I completely miss them even having any sense of a fight?
Yeah, he just does it off camera. You just see that, stab this guy.
Stab this guy with a sword, as you do.
Yeah, I missed that. Where did this pokey sword thing come from?
Oh, we just ordered it. You see the scene, he just opens a box and he's like, yeah, I got it. So
got it on Prime. Prime, but it's even faster. It just comes within the 10 minutes.
That bit is weird.
Right, I need a sword, and he gets it straight away like that, and it's a big old sword, the He-Man sword. But so he turns up. He is sensible, and he brings down all the other guards just before the second guy, the colonel or the head scientist, I guess, who is overseeing it. He doesn't get quite drained, he's a bit embarrassed about it all. He's like, oh, she did that. Points at like the prune man on the table. He's like, oh, she did that, and now she's escaped. And then they go, oh, well, don't worry. There's no way a naked girl is going to just walk out of this facility. And then we proceed comically to a naked girl just walking out of this facility, because not only can these sort of 80s British guards be distracted by a woman who is, the guy has already said she's overpoweringly sexy. He's, oh no, she was, honestly, mate, like, it's not my fault. I'm not unprofessional.
Honestly, right? I'll tell you she was sexy. She was overpoweringly sexy. My legs went to jelly.
You weren't here, mate. You weren't here. You couldn't have resisted it.
One of them is like a proper cartoon character of a security guard, where he like looks up from his papers and he goes.
Well, she doesn't escape him by being overpoweringly sexy. She escapes him by the fact he is doing a crossword when she walks past. And he's like,
4 down, bush.
Whoa, man! He looks at him and gets the clue. He's like,
could have warned me. Could have warned me. And then there's two other guys just like, what are they going to do to her? I can't remember. Have they got
they're having their marmalade sandwiches or whatever, sitting there having some sarnies, and then
you're patting some bear.
Yeah, these people work at like a top secret facility where, for all intents and purposes, aliens have just been discovered, and they are chilling out, like, honestly, like the Sunday shift at like a retail store, and it's like they're having their sandwiches, and then they walk past and they go, oh, the other bloke comes down the stairs behind her, having put his crossword down, and goes, oh, she's that naked woman who we've got to stop from escaping. You better stop her.
What do you think? Hang on a minute. Are you the naked woman we're looking for?
She's absolutely balmy, though. You've got to stop her from escaping. And the plan that the guard uses, he offers her a bit of sandwich. He like goes, "Come on."
Does he do that?
He does. He holds his sandwich up. He like goes, "Come on," and then he literally goes.
Why are they treating her like she's like an escaped? Like wild animal.
Escaped
dog. A little bit of bread. Come on now. Don't want any bread. I want some of your life force.
But then she gives him a bit. He makes a mistake of being a bit too good. He says, "Oh, go on, come to daddy." And then she puts her hand up and gives him a little zap of electricity. She zaps those two away and then explodes all the glass and messes off into the night. She's out in the wild.
Yeah.
She's out. She makes a meal of getting out of there, doesn't she, with the big explosion, and she's out. See you later.
The windows out.
Boom.
A lot of rotoscoping special effects in this film, which I quite like. I think even now it looks kind of cool.
It. Yeah, I think it looks good.
So she's disappeared there. She's not even like, she's like left her body or something as well. I don't think
she hasn't left. As far as we know right now, she's just gone. Yeah. But we don't know about the leaving a body power for a little bit yet. But right now she's just run away. Okay. And this is when our man, Colonel Kane, don't say he's from the SAS, all right? It's off the record. But this is where Colonel Kane turns up. Hero of the movie.
Yeah. Very well to do. Very well to do, man. Looks a little bit like which one? Simon or Garfunkel? Garfunkel. Yeah. And what they did, pretty much doing autopsy on one of the dudes who got completely sucked off, right?
Yeah.
Around about this point.
Okay. Yeah.
She sees that they see the guy, and it's your picture in the background, Ben, right? They're going to do the autopsy on the man. We learned that our friend, the professor, Professor Fallada, is a student of thanatology. So he loves Marvel villain Thanos and wants to study all about him. But also he studies death. And this is when he goes, one of my favorite bits of dialogue from the film is like, Colonel Kane tells him, "Oh, so you've researched like the afterlife, and what do you think? What do you think? Is there really an afterlife?" And the professor goes, "Do you really want to know?" And he goes, "Not really." And then he proceeds to tell him anyway.
Do you really want to go? Absolutely not. And then, well, no, don't tell me.
Well, I happen to think that there is a bit of
just a lot of really, really weird characters. Like all of the leads as such, all of like the heroes of the film are just all very strange.
I feel like there's too many characters in general.
Because too many characters, I don't really know like what they're supposed to be doing, what makes them tick, who they are. They're just kind of there.
People who you think are the main characters disappear for half the movie and then come back later.
I wouldn't have guessed that it's Carlson and Kane who are effectively your two main guys, and then naked space vampire lady. But yeah, like they have this conversation, and then we see that we've had all these theses that like, oh, she's overwhelmingly sexy, we can't do anything about it. So we know that she's out in the wild, and we have this autopsy scene. What do you think of this?
Yeah, this is pretty nuts, isn't it? Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean,
wait, what's this? Isn't this when someone like falls into dust when trying to get through the bars?
Oh no, that's a bit later. That's after she's been out in the wild and they find another body. First things first, we have the autopsy of the guy who is
the guy who she sucked off after.
Oh no, you're right. Like it's the wrong way around, I guess. So basically, it's like the professor goes, oh yeah, if she's out there, she's totally she's totally out there and she's totally dangerous. Doesn't sound like that. Sounds totally dangerous.
Yo, man, this is so totally dangerous. 1985. I know this film feels like it's set in the 60s, but I reckon he should have just had a character like that. You've got like the Hammer horror professor man. You've got like the SAS British dude. You've got like an American astronaut from 2001. Just chuck in an American surfer dude.
Just chuck in a surfer dude. But at this point, they go, well, haven't we still got the two men? They go, oh yeah, we could autopsy them, I guess. But then they're in a cell. They wake up and try to escape, and there's a couple of guards guarding them. They, because they live in the heteronormative 80s, do not find those men overwhelmingly sexy. They find them shootable. And they
hang on a minute, it's either sexy or I want to kill him. Sexy or I want to kill him. There's no in between.
Immediately to grenades.
Yeah, they're literally they're pissed off.
Get the grenades out.
God,
nade them nads.
I can't believe I've got to guard these two naked men. I would have rather been overwhelmingly sexed by the vampire. But you would be dead, you understand? You'd have been husked. Like, no, I don't care. Still,
someone shouted nads, and you mean what? Nades?
Yeah.
Nades, chuck them. Boom. Yeah. The thing is, if they didn't die from the initial bullet wounds, I think just carry on walking away, or maybe shut the door and lock them in. I don't know. Yeah. Throwing grenades at them seems like an extreme scenario.
Not only one, and just from the stairs as well. Then it's not like a big grenade throw. It's literally they're just on the guys are approaching the bottom of the stairs, and they are like 3 steps up, and they just underarm toss these grenades.
I think with these guards, if they've got a sandwich, they'll use the sandwich. If they've got grenades, they'll use the grenade. Whatever you give them, they'll use. They'll use that.
Kill a man with anything. So grenade, marmalade sandwich.
So they've
how would you kill a man with a marmalade sandwich?
You could. Wow, if you're eating a bread vat, like loads of bread vat, chewing it, you're like suffocating.
Yeah, so you put it in their mouth and then just like jab them in the ribs. They go
allergic to citrus.
Yeah. So they've captured, they've blown these guys up. So just basically this happens like just around the corner, and then the professor and everyone come in and goes, oh well, can't autopsy these guys now. Then we'll go and autopsy the victim then. So this
just desperate to do an autopsy. Can we do this person, that person, this?
The guard, the sweaty oik man who was just poking around at that vampire who got slurped dry like a Capri Sun. So they go to do an autopsy, but then just as the doctor begins to get ready to poke him, the guy sits up. The scientist finds him overwhelmingly sexy and lets him snog him.
kind of just gives him a life force knock. And it's weird. Sometimes it kisses him.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just kind of like open their mouth near their mouth and just suck out all the lightning from their face.
I seem to remember this one. He's genuinely like, come here,
yeah.
kiss. Come on.
Oh yeah, he does.
He's standing there and he goes, hey!
And the guy like goes, like, I can't not.
Yeah, can't resist. It's almost like he just wants you close so he can set your life force out and
give me a
something. Give me a
I'll give you a cuddle, but don't suck my life force out.
Don't suck my life force, naughty boy.
It'd be like that, sometimes when, I don't know if it happens, these modern eras, but I remember what you want if you have a life force zombie when they're just asking for a hug. That technique when you have, someone who was like don't want it to be an awkward situation. We've all had a drink and it's a night out, and someone, and so when you give them a hug, you put your head over their shoulder, you put your head right over, so no one's leaning in for any kisses. Put your head over their shoulder, and then you can just give them a hug without them slurping out your life force.
Did anyone slurp out your life force on this night out, Andy? No, I did the standard head over the shoulder hug for everybody.
I don't want any embarrassing situations and people feeling awkward the next day. They had a bit too much to drink. It's like, no, I'm saying goodbye.
Did I try and suck your life force out last night? You did. You did. I am absolutely humiliated. Please don't tell anyone else.
Yeah, but he doesn't do that. He obviously hasn't. Obviously it was 1985, so I was 2. Couldn't have taught him that technique at the time. So he gets his life force sucked out, and then he gets husked, and the other guy gets better.
The other guy, pretty much immediately gets better.
Like I think it's, and you pour some out of the other, put some back in the other, and that one.
It's established.
I don't understand the rules here.
That the life force vampires will need to keep having their regular portions of life force in order to be alive now. But yeah, it just seems unnecessary.
But so once the vampire takes your life force, you have 2 hours to get someone else's life force, right?
But you're like unconscious for a bit, but then when you wake up, you've got a little bit of time to get life force. It seems that you've got like a 2-minute window.
I thought he said 2 hours, and
then
they get back up.
Yeah, so he was like zombied for 2 hours and just bones, but then he got up after 2 hours.
And then you've got minutes to get some more life force from someone.
Later on, they talk about it like a disease and say it incubates for 2 hours.
Well, later on, there's like zombies like running around.
But also, when the zombies are running around, they don't look anything like this in the first half of the film. There's no one who looks like just a standard zombie. They look like
those zombies seem like actual, like physically threatening things. These ones at the start, you could cough in their direction and they would like shatter into dust.
Yeah. Well,
it's strange. Yeah.
Very strange.
But not
these ones. So he gets life forced, and then they put them away. So they put the man who's got better. The professor goes, right, lock him up. Don't let him life force anyone else. And then you want to put this other guy back. You want to put this other body in a cell as well, because I suspect in about 2 hours he's going to be exactly the same. Just as they get a call to say, oh, a body's been found. And then this is the film of like really quick asides. It happens shortly as well, where like you could, if you wanted the film to be short, you could have avoided this whole scene, because effectively you have a scene where Kane and the professor get changed, go down into a park in London, see a dead body, talk to a couple of local pervs who were like,
oh yeah, local pervs, yeah. So they basically say, we saw the naked woman like and doing something to another woman. We thought they were going to get us on, so we came back to watch out of the middle of the trees, like little pervy bastards.
Oh, they are,
and they went,
like,
oh yeah,
proper like pervs. Yeah. They're like
the police are like, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, we've all been there.
Oh,
it's like first thing in the morning as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
They say like, about an hour ago. So what are you two?
So we saw these two about an hour ago, and
Hampstead Heath.
Yeah, Hampstead Heath. He goes, oh, they're a bit coy about it. They're like, oh, the other one wasn't wearing too many clothes, as in none. She wasn't wearing too many clothes, and we circled back round. Thought they might, like nudge, wink, wink, and they go, all right, dickheads, off you go. and then literally it might as well have been if there'd been like a Kane and the Professor face to do like a Transformers and like back, because then they're back at the base again, and they've changed. They've had another costume change. Like... Yeah,
oh great.
And they're back with the Husk guy, and he's gone right. The Professor's there, and he's got his watch and say it is about to be 2 hours since he had some life force. Any second now, and then it ticks over, and then the second it happens, the guy goes from being a normal man that's just like gibbering like the scat man in his cage because he's lost the power of speech since he's become a zombie. He's in there like going and then he shouts for a little bit, and then he turns back into a husk and falls down. The Professor gets his stick and pokes him, and he's all dusty. Yeah. He's broken down completely, so he's not coming back again. He's just dust in there now. And then they say, right, obviously he sucked this guy's life force next door. Just shy of 2 hours ago. Let's see what's happening to him. And then the other zombie man has then got up. He sees that there are alive people there and runs at the bars hard enough to smash himself to atoms.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there.
And then they finalise the scene by going upstairs to see the woman they found on Hampstead Heath. She's strapped down to a table. She also comes back to life and then explodes into dust as well.
This was much, I think, something about the effects here with the woman, the Hampstead Heath woman, was much more terrifying. I don't know why, something really, really odd and off-putting about it. Just the way, maybe it was like the color of her skin, that horrible like flecked.
Yeah.
But yeah, just really quite scary. That was probably the only effect in this film where I was like, oh, that's pretty gruesome.
Oh, because of course she's silly. Also, I guess the others, like, does it make it more human that the others have clothes on, they have like full uniforms on, but because the naked vampire lady has stolen the woman's clothes, she's lying there naked on a bed before she explodes to dust, and you can see all the ribs and the skin rather than just like a slightly like sunken face. Maybe it's the whole body effect that you get there. But she explodes to dust.
What's that?
And Kane sort of bears a big sigh and says, get the Henry out then, get the Hoover, because there's bloody vampire dust everywhere.
Covered in vampire dust. And then there's obviously a big sort of switch in the movie now when we find out that something has survived from the Churchill space shuttle. Turns out that in Texas, an escape pod has just arrived, and old Tom Carson's in there, looking a bit bearded and disheveled and just a bit fed up. Fed up. Bloody hell, you never guess what I've been through. And he gets like immediately flown to London. They've given him a shave and a haircut, and they've got him in his nice what uniform? Yeah,
and sent him straight to London. Again, this is one of those scenes. It's almost why did he have to have? Maybe it's a fact from the book, I guess. Maybe I'm being facetious, but like he's landed in Texas. Quickly go to Texas, find him, send him to London, and like literally he is there in the next scene. It's him walking into the office.
So he doesn't seem particularly like. Obviously, I know he's got a lot of crap going on in his head and stuff with that. But I don't know. He seems mostly all right. I think like pretty keen to get.
There was a bit where he like wakes up screaming and sweating in the bed.
Yeah, I meant kind of like in this scene when he turned up. He's quite well to do. Okay. He's like doing all the. Yeah. And he kind of explains what he did on the shuttle was that he started a bloody fire on there.
Oh no! He did. Oh no! Oh yeah. Did he say he started the? Does he explain that he started the fire? He said everyone died slowly but surely. Right.
He basically explains that like over time after they brought the desiccated bat people and the sexy
the sexy crystal coffin people.
Everyone started dying. Obviously, it was their life force being taken.
The communications got smashed straight away. Everyone was feeling a bit tired. And the communications guy smashed the computers with a toilet brush.
You sat there like going, fuck it!
gets the gets the brush out and just smashes everything.
Just like, be careful. If anything, the communication should be a bit more durable than just the ability to get smashed by a toilet brush.
But they do get smashed by a toilet brush, and then it just shows, like, as things progress, more and more of them are husked, and they just leave them lying around, and it's just him left, and he runs through the spaceship, pulling all of the explode everything switches. I think he's flooding the room with oxygen, and then he sets the vampire on fire. He's got one of those barbecue lighters, the little hair dryers he used to light the barbecue with. And then he gets in the escape pod just in time for it to all blow up. But then we get, I guess, our first little haunting bit. He corroborates the story of the other scientist who said that she was overwhelmingly sexy, and says, part of me didn't want to believe it was the hardest. First he says, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. He said, I bet it was. Dead hard to pull all those levers. So many of them, you could miss one. And he goes, no, it wasn't that. It's that it was really, like, part of me wanted to stay because I thought that she was brilliant. So I love her. You've never experienced love like this. Very, very patronizing. Been married for 10 years. You've never experienced love. No. Don't talk to me about that.
I don't think you two have got much in common. Like, you don't like the same films, same music. It's kind of, I'm pretty sure that the naked woman that you love is I think it's just lust. No, I bloody love her. All right, no, don't tell me any different.
Don't tell me you don't know. You don't know what it's like to be my age. 3 years younger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Like, they haven't got anything in common. He hasn't spent a single night of his life in a crystal sort of force field.
She might be well annoying. He might be well annoying to her. Do you know what I mean? He might go, really nice to meet you. So what kind of things? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Or she might just be really annoying. Just going on about space all the time. Oh yeah, space. Really? I'll get over it. You're on Earth now.
Like people who spent a lot of time traveling. Oh yeah, mate. I genuinely believe it makes you a better person. Really opens your horizons. Space travel. And like, he obviously is an astronaut. At first, he's like, he can relate to it, but then she's really one-upping him. Oh, where have you been in space then? Where have you been in space? Been Jupiter? No, it's beyond the realms of human space travel. I just Tokyo drift around.
Just Halley's Comet once or twice. She goes.
Halley's Comet lived there, mate. I
lived there for 6 years.
Not a tourist.
Helping bats.
I was living there.
I lived there for 6 years, helping bats build schools, and you really opened your mind, to all those things. Yeah. All right, get over it. We've heard it. Yeah, get over it. Yeah, blah blah blah.
But he hasn't realised that right now she's the most amazing person he's ever met, and he's in love, and you wouldn't understand it. Then don't try. Don't try to understand it. Neither should those scientists, because you cannot fathom
possibly.
Yeah, how much he loves her. He still fancies her. And then he sort of goes, oh, well, thanks for that story. Better nip off to bed. And he proceeds to go and have like a vampire sex nightmare. But it's like, how some people like,
sweat dream.
Yeah, he has a sweat dream.
Oh, get some antiperspirant on your sunshine. Jesus Christ.
He just has a sexy nightmare about the vampire lady who comes and snogs him and goes, I'll give you some of my energy. I'll give you a bit. You give me a bit of yours.
They're going about that all the time. They're like giving each other energy. Like, I've got a bit of her in me and a bit of him in her.
It's like there's some really weird noises while they're kissing at this point.
Oh, God, yeah. It's really like, some people have like a whale. Some people have like a whale song CD. This is like a kaiju song CD. Like the Toho Godzillas. This is like Rodan and Mothra. Like, red.
I just can't relax. All right. Now I know I said I love you, but we got to get our sleeping situation sorted, because these vampire sex sweat dreams are too much for me.
Yeah, there's too much for him. So much so that he basically wakes up and does the first example in this movie of someone just having a massive shout. He just wakes up. Although
his eyes are like crossing over and stuff.
Yeah, maybe classic trope. Obviously, he has flown straight over from Texas, right? As soon as he landed in the escape pod, right? He's come straight to London without delay. You know, he's probably bloody forgotten.
Jet lagged. Oh, Kevin.
No, the bins.
Kevin. And the bins. I've left my son and the bins. Oh, bollocks. Oh, and I got a pet. Oh, it's dead.
So yeah, he's come over. He sits up. The scientist, the professor, and the other scientist who I've forgotten his name. He's like the lead scientist, the one that got partially drained. But he dies off camera, so we kind of lose him as important factor. But yeah, so they come back in and goes, "Oh, what's wrong?" And he goes, "Oh, had a nightmare. She came and she saw me in my dream." He goes, "Oh, tell us then." He goes, "Oh, Colonel."
He's really keen to know what happened in the dream, isn't he?
Colonel Kane comes in. He's got a very nice way about him. He goes, "Oh, tell us about the dream." He's genuinely interested. People never want to know about your dreams, really.
Colonel Colin Kane.
Colonel Colin Kane, the Triple C. So the Triple C comes in and says, "Tell us about your dream." And he goes, "Oh, I can't. It's faded already." And the professor goes, "Oh, have you tried hypnosis? Maybe that'll help you remember it." And then, in a perfect waste of everyone's time, the doctor who's tending to him goes, "Oh, he's too tired for hypnosis right now." And so there's an immediate scene transition to the next day when he's not going to be too tired anymore.
Yeah,
with them getting so it's like literally the morning.
Wide awake. I'm ready for.
It like does a really quick fade transfer within the same room, the same shot. I don't think people even change positions or clothes.
Yeah, it just went.
You're feeling very sleepy. Yeah, it was.
They all waited there in the exact positions in the room.
Yeah. Okay, so he's too tired for hypnosis now. We'll wait for him not to be too tired. Also, isn't hypnosis having a sleep? Wouldn't that be just what you need if you've just had a nightmare?
Too sleepy. You need to be just the right amount sleepy. Yeah.
So the professor's gone and got his hypnosis light, and he goes, "Okay, look at this light until you feel tired." Shining at my eyes, they're tired already. So he does some hypnosis, and then he sees. Ben, I know you vibed with this character, your bin bag lady.
Oh yeah, bin bag lady. Yeah. So she's like on the moors somewhere, wearing a bin bag, wearing a sexy bin bag.
With Nigel Farage.
That's exactly. I said exactly the same thing. That's Nigel Farage's little flat cap. He's gone. "Excuse me. Where are you from?" And she's gone, "Space." And he's gone, "Ah, for God's sake! I hate it when people from other parts of this planet, let alone another planet." So he goes to attack her.
But she wants a lift and says, "Oh, I'm going back to where I come from." And he goes, "Oh, right then."
I'll give you a lift. I'll give you a lift then. Gives
her a lift in his Ford Cortina. No, it's not. It's a Volvo, isn't it?
She starts showing her sexy, freckly legs to him. And honestly, he's reacting like a man who's, he's seen a bit of ankle once in his teens, and he got overexcited then. But this time he's seeing full legs. He's like going, "Oh, bloody hell, I can't concentrate driving this." What's he driving?
He's driving a white Volvo.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. Like when she's first like sitting on a bench trying to allure him, it looks like he's like salt in his drive or something.
Well, I don't think it's his drive.
Like the guy in Home Alone.
Yeah, he's just like fiddling about in the boot of his car, isn't he?
Yeah, waiting for a sexy woman dressed in a bin bag to turn up.
Just out for I don't know what he's doing. Checking his spare tire, I guess. Who knows?
But so she's showing him her frilly knickers, and this is made this is made even more by the fact that it's all narrated because this is a mind connection in the mind palace of Colonel Tom. And Colonel Tom's like going, "Oh, she's hiking a skirt up over her knees." He is sitting there recounting this to a room of scientists.
He's like, "I love her," but then we find out he don't like redheads, so he's like, "Oh, this might be a deal breaker for me."
She's lifted, and then she is like properly. She's coming onto this guy. She's moving her hand to his. She's moving his hand rather to her crotch, and Tom already knows what she's doing. Is she's looking for someone to drain to get a bit of but not enough to kill him because she doesn't want to give herself away. It's important.
Look, I'm going to come clean with you. I'm just looking for someone to drain. All right. That's literally it. I don't want anything else. I don't want you texting me tomorrow saying you had a good time. Just looking for someone to drain.
That'd be easier to do in 1985, right? Because no texts. So you're going to do, send her a postcard.
That's true. I really loved you. Have you seen this woman dressed in a bin bag anywhere on the moors? No.
No. So it gets a bit intense, and as she literally puts his hand in her crotch, notice that Colonel Tom sits up very suddenly in his bed and can't talk about it anymore. He's like, oh!
Can you just leave, please, for a second? I just need to, just bring my thoughts together.
I'm tired again.
I'm tired. Leave me alone.
He's screaming again.
Yeah, and I guess maybe like now in his post-wank clarity, Tom is able to describe, and he's like, yeah, her name
immediately.
Her name's Ellen, and she's in there as well with the vampire. And he gives them Nigel Farage's license plate, so Colonel Kane is able to trace the car. And we don't see what Nigel's up to again, because it just goes, oh yeah, we've brought him in. He's very tired. And he doesn't want to talk about it, but we know that the woman named Ellen works at. No, he's fine.
Nigel Farage.
Yeah, Nigel Farage is fine. They brought. We don't see him, but it's just shared that. Oh yeah, we've brought him in. He's very tired and he doesn't want to talk about it. But
let's wait for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it is post-wank clarity. It's just it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, he's gone. Oh yeah, I'm on the radio today, or I'm inexplicably being given a television platform again. So I'm going to save my stories about that time I got drained by a space vampire for on there for my subscribers. And he doesn't want to talk about it, but they did manage to get out of him all the information they needed, which was the woman's name and where she works. So off they go to an insane asylum where Patrick Stewart works at. And while Kane and Carlson head there,
this scene goes on for well too long. I understand like there's a twist that they're sort of building up to, but they just go on like they build it up that there's a guy they're gonna go. He has the mind of a 4-year-old or something.
Yeah, so that's when they meet Patrick Stewart, but we don't know about the prisoner yet because first he has to go and see. He has to go and see the nurse. They've got to go and find her. And Patrick Stewart goes, "Oh, do you want me to come up?" And Patrick Stewart runs the asylum, and he goes, "Oh, do you want me to come up and see the nurse with you?" I go, "No, mate, I'll go and see her on my own." And this is what you were saying, Ben, about her saying like, "She's a masochist. She loves it, doesn't she?" And he's trying to get the information out of her as to where the vampire is, because is the vampire lady still in her brain at this point? I couldn't work out if she was meant to be there.
It felt like maybe a little bit. I don't know. I was confused as what was kind of going
on. So he said I'm looking in her mind and she's not there. And then Colonel Triple C says, "How do you know?" And he goes, "I can see it into her mind." And then he starts hitting her and says, "She's a masochist. I can see it in her mind." Okay, cool. And then he says, "She is there. I can see it." And like he changes tack 3 times. In the end, he says, "She is there. I'm sure of it. I didn't just beat up this person for no reason. She definitely is there."
And after he's pulled her hair a little bit, she passes out and goes, "Oh, she's gone now." You could just be a lunatic. You just wanted to pull that woman's hair and knock her about, you madman.
Well, he doesn't like redheads.
Madman.
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh yeah, she's." This is when he says, "Oh, he's in the mind of this big killer." He gets a description of this prisoner. So he said, "Oh, is there a big man with grey hair?" Patrick Stewart says, "Yeah, we got one of those. I'll take you to see him." And they agree that Patrick Stewart can come with him. Off to the side, we see the professor back at the base has his sword delivered, and then a creepy, smiley-looking guard brings it to him and is immediately sus. He's like, "Hey." And then we don't see that for a bit, but then this is when we go into the cell of the murderer. Go on, Luke. Tell us about the master plan.
What do you mean? So, oh, okay, yeah. So, well, they've gone on about a drug for a while. They've got like an injection thing that what is it?
It's like
sedative
morphine and like sodium pentacles. It's like a truth serum. So I guess it's like a tranquilizer, effectively, just basically big old needle of fuck you up juice.
Yeah, and the twist is that they weren't really going for this person. The twist is that Patrick Stewart was the lady vampire this whole time, and they sneak up behind him. I don't think even Patrick Stewart knew that he had a lady vampire inside his mind, right?
No,
I think she was hiding there.
I don't know. He seemed really surprised.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart from now on mainly screams.
Just shouts.
Or he talks in the space vampire's voice, and he like looks quite lovingly at Captain Carlson or Colonel Carlson, or
I think they're both colonels, aren't they?
Colonel Carlson or Colonel Colin.
So you've got CTC and then the triple C.
Double C or triple C. Okay.
Yeah, double C or triple C, and you can tell that because one of them far better at resisting vampires. That extra C is the thing that does it.
Yeah.
The extra C stands for cool.
Wow. So they get Patrick Stewart on the table. They hold him down and they start injecting him with like just tons of this stuff. They're like, get us at least. And he goes, how powerful is like one?
Ridiculous.
And he goes, like, that lasts like 2 hours. Get us 3.
And the guy literally goes, should I really? And then the Home Secretary is just with them for reasons. His name is Percy Heseltine. So Percy Heseltine's like, I'll take responsibility. You do it. And and the guy just knocks back at the door and says, here you go. Here's all the syringes of medicine.
And like a silver platter.
Yeah, and they just jab him with some more. And then he's like, oh, you tell me, you bitch. You tell me about that.
Yeah. Oh my God. How often? So this guy, Captain Carlson, he said something over and over again. What is it? I can't remember. Don't
let me go.
Let me go. Yeah. He says that at least 40 times. Like over and over and over again.
Let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go.
But he says it like he rides it like a roller coaster. He goes up, let me go, and he goes down. And he just keeps going up and down.
And then Patrick Stewart gets up and goes, no. Oh, mamma mia. Wow. But sometimes Patrick Stewart talks, as you say, like in the voice of the Lady Vampire. Like when he goes to give him another needle of the juice, he goes, oh, that won't be necessary. But then it is necessary because he immediately jabs him with it.
I think he's trying to escape or something. Or like Patrick Stewart. Okay, so the rotoscope in lightning starts to happen again. So then Colin jabs him with 2 needles in both sides of the neck, Frankenstein style.
Oh yeah,
keep him. Yeah,
that was ridiculous. That is like someone there was going, that's too much. Come on, he's already had enough.
No wonder he dies. No wonder he bleeds out on a helicopter. You jabbed him with so many holes.
Yeah,
because that's what happens, right? So after Double C has shouted "Let me go" loads of times and not really established what the plan is or how to stop him. He does the Highlander stuff, kills Percy Heseltine, just smashes him into a wall. Everyone's flying around. The orderly that brings them the syringes opens the door and immediately wishes he hasn't. He's like, ooh. And that's right. That's when the Triple C bangs him in the neck with all those drugs. And they go, right, we'll take him back to London in the helicopter. Oh, and the dead Home Secretary as well. Yeah. And off they go.
So this is where I think things start to go a bit crazy.
Pear-shaped.
Yeah.
Is this where they? Yeah, so I also forgot to mention, after they first capture Patrick Stewart and drug him, then they put him wearing a lovely suit with his bald head in a wheelchair. Accidental Professor X.
Yeah, I did think that. Yeah. Accidental Professor X.
And is this where they realise that it's a trick? They've kind of been double crossed, and then like, oh, maybe if she could change bodies this whole time.
So that she was just trying to get them out of London, I think.
Because she is still there and she can still create more problems. And then you get a call from the professor, who's got like a dead male vampire. Said, "Oh yeah, the two male vampires, they can't do the same thing as her, but they can change their appearance. So basically, they copied those guards when that grenading happened. But I've killed one of them now." And they go, "Oh, how did you kill him?" And he literally just looks across and goes, "I stabbed him with this big old sword." And it has to be an iron sword.
Is that even a sword? That thing? It's like a giant. It's like a toothpick for an ogre or something. It's a strange looking sword.
A big old wraw iron spike. That's what it's got.
Pierce my foot on a spike.
It's what I always think of with spike. He pierced not his heart with a spike, but the energy center just below.
How did he know? Like, this was just all insane. Like, what happened off screen? He overpowered a space vampire, stabbed him in his one weak spot that somehow he knew about.
And yeah, he knew all these things though, because obviously he is a professor of all of these weird, all of thanatology, and knowing how to kill anything to make it easier to study death is what you need to know. And this is where he points out that all vampires are space vampires. He goes, "Oh yeah, the legend of vampires we probably have here is probably from space vampires."
I think Carlson then says, yeah, that's right. Like he knows for a fact or something he's seen inside her mind.
Yeah,
that it's definitely true.
It's definitely true. He says, "Oh yeah, he does like the Force Awakens Han Solo." He goes, "It's true, all of it." Yeah, and yeah, then they're heading back to London, but they realise there's a trap. But then Luke, the image from your background comes into play. Patrick Stewart and the Home Secretary, who was never possessed, all their blood comes out.
Oh yeah, okay. So this one they turn into like Captain Scarlet Thunderbird models.
They turn to Thunderbird models, and then they make a blood face.
I'll be honest. It's quite a gruesome visual. Like the blood's like pouring out of their eyeballs and their mouths, even though they're obviously not real people at that point. It still kind of gets to you. And then it makes like a blood sculpture of the lady. I can't remember what she says. She says some she's a, yapping on, and then she kind of melts into a puddle.
She just like gives them the fingers and then disappears because I've escaped, suckers.
And I think this is when London is like on fire at this point for some reason. I don't know why London's on fire actually.
There's like a thing saying that like there's big riots. The city's been under control, martial law for 3 hours, but it's not solved any problems. The helicopter goes, "Oh, I thought you might want to hear this from the BBC." And then it shows that that's happening, and this is where Carlson has a little flashback as well, and we get the true story of what happened in space.
He killed everyone because he put his hands through the crystal coffin and then had sex with her.
Yeah.
And they shared energy, and then he killed everyone, right?
Did he let them?
He let her have them or something.
Did he let them die, or does that mean that he is slurping people dry as well when he was in space? Who knows? It's not made.
Who knows?
It's not made expressly clear, but it was his fault, and it was him that smashed the. It was him that smashed the computer with the toilet brush.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't let her get back to Earth. That was it. He had a lovely time letting her eat everyone up, but then he realized when he saw Earth out the window, he was like,
I do miss Earth.
Probably shouldn't. I love Earth almost as much as I love this vampire lady, maybe even slightly more. I mean, I wouldn't expect you to understand that. I wouldn't.
He misses Starbucks. He's got a Cineworld card that he's paying for every month. He needs to get back.
Yeah, he's got things on.
He's got lots of things on. Yeah.
So then he did do the burning up, but it was his fault that all that stuff happened. But Triple C, he's nothing if not a practical man. He knows there's no time to talk about that now. The most important thing is to get back and sort it all out. And London is effectively, central London it's like 10 to 2 at a nightclub in there. People are just snogging people all over the place. There's no selection going on anymore. People are just going hog wild. You're getting what you can. There is one of the zombies dressed as a nun that's going about snogging people. It's bloody Valak is about. And there's just a mess of grey husky men snogging people, slurping out their energy, and there's rotoscoped electricity everywhere. It's like a Highlander convention down there.
Fire, everything's on fire. They go to land I think they land the helicopter. I don't know if it's just yet, but like some zombies grab onto the.
That's as they're escaping in the minute. So they land on this base to go and see the Prime Minister, who wants to know what it is. And as soon as you see the Prime Minister, you're like,
he's like a secret vampire.
Yeah, you're fucked, aren't you, Prime Minister? Because he's all sweaty and like dabbing his mouth. Yeah. And then he goes, "Oh, Miss Havisham, will you just chat to us in here?" But just to say, I'll be right with you in a second, gents. Triple C, double C. I'll be
Triple C, double C.
I'll be with you.
Such a weird duo, these guys.
The C Club. The big
Take
C's.
Mr. Havisham behind this like little screen, and you just see some electric bolts, and Triple C and Double C look at each other and go, "Do you think he's?"
Yeah, these energy vampires, very hard to be stealthy if there's literally an electrical and light show the second you get anyone.
Yeah.
And they
quietly.
And they just leg it out of there. And there's already other people that are looking sick in there as well. So basically, London has fallen, but with, less Jerry Butler to deal with it.
Much less Jerry Butler, yeah.
But don't worry, you don't need him because you've got the Triple C to deal with that and his mate Double C. So the PM is absolutely fucked. They run to the guys get on the helicopter, and that's the bit that you're talking about, where the two guys get up there and they largely just casually kick them off.
Well, their skin on their hands is loose, so they can't grab on, and they deglove themselves.
Yeah, one degloves himself. A young Mike Flanagan's probably watching that and go, "Oh, degloving, write that down when I'm old enough." And the other one, he pops in the face with a flare gun, and there's like a scene of them just like leaning over the edge of the helicopter, watching it tumble away off camera. And they get to the quarantine zone. They're immediately quarantined, but with some stern words, they just let them through. They're like, "Oh, wasting time." And he goes, "Oh, okay, good point. Don't want to waste time." And the colonel lets them in for them to talk through their plans. We understand here that if they can't contain what they just think of as a disease, it's been authorized that there'll be a nuclear strike, a bit like the end of Return of the Living Dead. They'll just be, "You hear that noise?" But we don't want it to come to that. That's been authorized. And Double C realizes that they are stealing, or they phone the professor and he explains that they're stealing souls.
It's all a bit.
Nothing at
this point was making sense to me.
Yeah, from what I could gather, the blue energy is stealing souls. The spaceship with the fleshy umbrella has turned up, and it's opened the umbrella and it's gathering up the souls.
Yeah.
But the male vampires can transfer the souls to the woman, and only she is the champion. So the lady vampire is a Shang Tsung, I guess. She eats souls.
Yeah, I think so, pretty much. Seems like it.
Yeah. So
Shang Tsung.
Yeah, so she's a Shang Tsung. They split up. Double C, he gets in a car, and he says, "Oh, basically," Carson says, "Look, she's calling me. She gave me a bit of energy, and she wants it back. So I gotta go." And he's off. He kind of escapes, leaves the Triple C behind, and dashes off. He's escaped from the barricade, and he's heading in to where he knows that he'll find her because she's calling him. Triple C, this is his best cool dude moment, right? When he goes, right, I've got to go after him. And he goes along and is like, you don't want to go in there, sir. And he's like, too right, I don't. But he goes anyway because he's the hero that London needs, even if it's not the one it deserves.
I think he goes to find Faldas.
Yeah.
Howdas or Faldas. I really like this scene, actually. There's like London's burning in the window behind him as he's looking really sweaty, Faldas, and he's obviously like turned into some sort of creature, and his skin starts bubbling and melting and stuff, and he sort of decomposes on the floor in front of him.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, what happened to you? How come you're alive? And he doesn't explain it, but something's got him.
Yeah. It's a quite a nice visual.
And
the music's getting quite epic at this point as well.
When he gets him, he's like, here I go. And then his energy gets slurped away into like this oncoming void that's like,
I think he even says that I know now there's life after death or something like that. He says something along those lines.
So maybe like he did get got by an energy vampire, but he doesn't have to be a Zambo because he's a main character, so he gets to keep a bit of agency.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But he just gets like the Kane just shoots him, right?
I don't think he just shoots him, does he? Maybe he did. I know that the Colonel now goes driving through the zombie streets, and he's like chased all around from zombies, shoots a couple in the head.
Yeah, that's brilliant because he's got the Sword of Omens that he's pulled out of that vampire that was on that guy's desk.
Yeah.
And he's just, does he drive anymore? He's done a drive and now he runs basically through London, and he does that brilliant bit where, you know, he goes down one alleyway and loads are coming to, he turns the other way, and then one almost sneaks up behind him, but makes the mistake of like going rah before it gets him. He just turns around and like point blank, end of the line, shoots him.
He gets to St. Paul's Cathedral, which is where the showdown is happening. And there's like a male energy vampire at the top of the stairs, like sucking loads of energy in front of him into his chest. And he looks down to Triple C and goes, and he even says, "This will be much less terrifying if you just come to me." And he says it in like a really goofy voice.
In a really deep voice. Really deep. This will be much less terrifying if you just come to me. And then the big man.
I think I will. Like really like suave.
Yeah, I think I will. I'll do exactly that. But what he doesn't tell the vampire, which is what catches him by surprise in his City of London like 80s stockbroker outfit. Wonder where he got his clothes from. He doesn't tell him when he will come to him. He'll come to him with a sword and stab him right in the heart. And he does. Yeah. And he turns into one of the desiccated Batmen and then explodes.
And then he just disappears. Yeah. No one knows.
And then he runs. He runs
Go on, sorry.
He runs into the thing, and then we see this big vortex. Carlson's already arrived and has basically started snogging the vampire lady.
Yeah.
And this is a big showdown. What were you going to say, Luke?
Well, so Carlson and the American guy's Carlson, right?
Carlson.
So he's basically just having sex with what's the name in like his little pocket dimension. Yeah. And then it's like his own energy sort of floating around there in the heat of the moment, and then you just see the other Triple C shouting through like a hole in the void, "Carlson!" as this guy's trying to get it on, and just the guy poking his head through the hole in the wall, just shouting his name.
Damn.
But like Carlson didn't seem to mind. Like he's thoroughly enjoying himself, even with his mate shouting his name through a hole in another dimension.
Yeah, and then he. Is this the origin? And I don't say this seriously, of course, but is this the origin of Bros Before Hoes? Because literally, he's there snogging this vampire that he loves. You wouldn't understand, Luke, how much he loves her. But then he sees his mate, who he's been through a lot together, shouting him, and he goes, puts his hand up to his friend with the sword. And it's got, his voice does have an echoey He-Man quality to it.
Yeah.
It's like, Tom, and then he throws the sword to him, and what an angle. He kind of stabs the vampire through the back, but so much so that it goes through him as well. He just
I think he designed to kill himself as well because he's got some of her in him.
He's got a little bit of her inside.
Yeah, that's
that was
true. Wasn't just clumsiness.
No.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
I'm dead too.
And then, what did you make of the end?
What happens in the end again? So
they
like ascend the column of light, don't they? They go up into the spaceship. Like at the end of Grease when they float up in the car. It was like that, but
were they vampires as well?
I reckon so.
Yeah, so they go up in a column, but it's a bit red. And at first I thought, oh, okay, they've stabbed them and then it's going to explode, but it doesn't. It just all the energy goes up. They're the last two, and then it just flies off back towards the comet.
Yeah, it just goes towards the green sky stuff. Yeah. Maybe Carlson is still out there having sex
with the vampire lady, and it's just taken the edge off a bit now that he's been stabbed. Maybe that's it. He was worried that obviously he's got to keep things sweet with his new vampire love. It's like, things are getting a little bit too close. I don't want to disappoint in this first time we've actually got to be together.
Maybe there's supposed to be a sequel. So maybe,
I know what to keep the wolf from the door. Stab myself with this sword. But yeah, there are. I think it was. Were you saying, Luke, it was meant to kick off a franchise?
I don't know about that, but it does seem like this ending kind of leaves it a little bit open to a franchise that never happened. That would never happen.
Do you want a spoiler for the book? I did read the plot. I might read it. It's not very long.
You read the entire book?
No, it's 120 pages, but I read the plot real quick. Apparently, in the like, I only got the very brief synopsis of it, but like in the book version, the extra dimensional beings that the squids / bat people evolved from say basically, oh, do you want to come back and be like us now? You know, our special mode. And they go, oh, yes, please. But then when they realize what they've become, horrid vampires, they just kill themselves anyway. But then Carlson, who's like the main character of the book as well, he has understood about this benevolent energy exchange that you can do. He's learned it from the vampires. And then the book flashes forward to like decades in the future, and he's lived a really long life through having a little bit of energy from people. So like it is meant to, so maybe it could be in the film handled it slightly differently, but maybe it implied he might come back as something else in the future.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Okay, well, I've got some name game for you if you're interested.
Aye.
Hell yeah.
So this first one is about a load of negative thoughts arrive in London and infect the populace, beginning an apocalyptic descent into chaos. So like a load of bad vibes arrive from space.
Strife Force.
Nope. Close.
Rife Force.
Just like negative things going on in someone's mind.
Negative organs.
I mean, they don't even have to be negative, to be honest. Just things that happen in the mind when you think
life
of something. Life thoughts. Well done.
Wow.
Next one is about a race of space brides who arrive in London and infect the populace. Any idea what? Space brides.
Wife Force.
Life Force, very good.
A race of dagger-wielding small cave-dwelling people arrive in London. Dagger-wielding small cave-dwelling people arrive in London. I'll say it again. Dagger-wielding small cave-dwelling people.
Dagger-wielding small cave-dwelling people.
Yeah.
Life dwarfs.
Life dwarfs.
Dagger-wielding.
Oh, knife dwarfs.
Knife dwarfs.
I was like, why does he keep saying dagger wielding over and over again?
Yeah, especially
what's wrong with you?
I associate dwarfs more with axes and myself.
Knife dwarfs.
Good point.
Okay. The last one, a race of air-dried half trousers arrive in London and infect the populace.
Life shorts.
Life jorts.
Well, clothes, half trousers, and they're not wet.
They're not wet. Dry shorts.
Dried shorts.
Dried shorts.
Jesus.
That's all of them.
I got one for if you would like one, Luke, because I know you don't get to play normally. So a vampiric energy plague comes, but actually it turns out that the sexy vampire lady you see a true form, actually an equine creature.
Horse.
Lifeforce.
Lifeforce, correct.
Yes.
Cool.
Lovely stuff.
Lovely stuff. So, we need to rate the film. So I can't remember what I put down for you guys. I thought Ben would have gone with a D- and either B+. That's what I went for.
Interesting.
And what about you, Luke? What was your score?
Oh,
okay. So I put it down here.
I reckon you're going to go for a C-.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Andy, what did you think I was going to put?
I thought, because we spoke about this before we started, right? Just for people listening, this was a polarizing and weird film, and we're sure that none of us are going to go with recent score for quite a few films, a B-. And I think we go either way. I think that you were going to go lower, Luke. I thought you might go with a C, and I think Ben might go slightly up. No, I think Ben might be slightly low. Maybe Ben will go a C-.
I think Ben's going D-.
Harsh.
Oh, well, my actual score, it was close. It was between a D+ and a C-. I'll go with a C- just because I do like the last 20 minutes quite a bit, but the rest of the movie is very slow going.
See, I feel like I don't like the last 20 minutes. I feel like the last 20 minutes, I've checked out a long time.
Here's the weird thing: I fell asleep around about when everything started kicking off, and I put the rest on today. I was like freshened up for it, and I was like, "This is quite exciting."
It did, as a film, it made me very tired twice. Now, maybe that's me, just putting it on quite late. I don't know, but so it made me tired once. I fell asleep, then the next day I put it on again, and got very tired.
How long is this film? It feels really long, doesn't it?
So it's like 2 hours long.
I think there's a director's cut as well, but I think 2 hours is the standard.
It just feels like to me there's a lot going on. It never quite gets anywhere with any of the ideas it's presenting. And it just gets very, very messy where I'm like, what? Sorry, what? Over and over again. But yeah, slow going, and I guess like silly, but not in a hugely entertaining way. So yeah, I mean, I struggled hugely with it, and I think that might be present in my review as well. I think even towards the halfway point of this podcast today, even then I feel like I'm checking out in my head because I'm like, I don't even know how much I enjoy.
How much you captured from the whole experience.
You were chatting about a lot, and I was a bit like, I don't remember this. So maybe that's my problem. But in terms of in terms of how I took it from watching it this time, I probably am going to go for a D-, and that's my lowest score for quite
D-
some time.
Yeah, it's the lowest in a bit, and obviously it made you both very tired. If any professors just want to hypnotize you at that point, they'd have had to have waited.
Yeah,
at least to seem they did.
To wait till I'm wide awake, I'm afraid. Yeah. There we go.
Andy, what did you go for?
Yeah, I think I probably had the most detail because I watched this morning and I didn't have any distractions, so I was awake early. So I sat and watched this morning and took my notes as I went through. I liked it more watching it this time than I did years ago. I looked at my old review on Letterboxd. I'd not written anything, but I gave it like 2 stars back in the day.
Yeah,
I liked it more this time because it is undoubtedly completely mad. It's got elements of like you mentioned Prometheus. It has much like Prometheus in the Alien series, it has shared DNA with that. It also has elements that I would expect to see from our old friend Zack Snyder, where there are ideas in this that probably don't belong in this, maybe don't belong anywhere, but still make it in. I kind of like that he just threw this at the wall, and there is madness here, and the shouting and the wild things that go on. It's not enough to make it a film I'd watch regularly, I don't think. So it's still only a C plus from me. Like I can't watch that long because like there is madness there, but there are bits of this film in isolation that I have to applaud for just the pure insanity of it and just doing whatever you wanted. And like you said as well, Luke, some of the creepy stuff with the zombies and everything is pretty well done. Like just the faces.
Yeah.
And all the other points go to MVP, the big triple C.
Right. Triple C, turtleneck man.
Yeah, but it's mad. But yeah, C plus. Did I go lower than you'd expect me to? Do you think I was going to crack out a B?
Yeah, I had you on a B plus. I had Ben
it was
on
close.
a D minus. What did you go for, Ben?
D. I always went for D minus. Yeah, I was thinking around about D. You said D minus. I predicted C minus for you, and you went for it. So I thought I returned the favor.
What did you have me on, Ben? Did you think I was going to go high as well?
I thought you go
like
higher.
some mad shit.
I was thinking maybe a C plus, but it's hard to feel too positive about it because I just didn't have a great time with this, and you know, most of the time I try and be as positive as possible, but I was a bit.
I think this is one of these things. Like, if we, I feel like if this was one that we'd all sat and watched together, and we'd been joking about as we'd gone through.
Yeah.
Then I reckon we probably have. I reckon you could have stuck an extra letter on all of us. I reckon you'd have had a medium time, Ben. I would have probably been cracking out that B plus by then, like because it's mad. I would recommend this to someone who was having like, if you're having some friends round and you're going to have just a mad old time and you want to show them some bizarre 80s horror. Look no further.
There we go.
Cool. So that is a film.
That is a film. It was a film.
Next week we are doing another film. What film are we doing next week?
So just you're on holiday next week, right, Ben?
Yeah, so I'm away next week, so I'll be missing another episode. Don't want to make it a regular thing, but you know,
he hasn't got COVID this time, folks. He's actually having a lovely time off, not sick.
I will actually have a week off. Yeah. So Creep Show is next
week.
Creep
Show for me and Luke next week.
Yeah. I will still participate and watch, so I can listen to your reviews.
Cool. Looking forward to it. I haven't seen Creep Show in a little while. A few years anyway. So yeah, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. Thanks to Kovac Cameron for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. Please rate and review in iTunes or whatever podcast app you're listening. And join the Facebook group Horror Hangout Board of Advisors. Thanks to my co-hosts Ben and Andy for being right horror dudes. You can follow Andy
guys
at Andy the Writer on Twitter.
Andy CT Writes.
Andy CT Writes. Okay, we'll lock that in. And Ben _Errington 03. What is it?
Just without the 03. Ben _Errington on all platforms.
Locking him in. Next time.
Right. You've got to get yours right now. Come on, Luke. This is the one.
Luke of Condor with a K. I forgot that bit.
Lovely. Classic.
Right.
Okay,
nice
see
one.
you next time. Well, I won't see you next time. I'll see you first thing in September for Candyman.
Candyman. Dex says his name 3 more times.
Excited about that.
No, I won't. It's bedtime now, so don't want nightmares.
Do sleep well. Right. Goodbye, everybody.
See
you later.
Bye. Bye.